family-owned shop in Loganville, Soesby's Garage for all your automotive repair needs. We service all makes and models, foreign and domestic. We repair engines, alternators, brakes, alignments, AC systems, and more, using certified technicians with over 90 years of combined experience. We also offer same-day service for some repairs. Soesby's Garage, 200 Bay Creek Road in Loganville. Dependable, honest, and fair. Look us up on Google or Facebook. We'll take good care of you.
Broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio inside the Sonesta Gwinnett Place Atlanta Hotel. It's time for Case in Point, presented by Paradigm Security Services. We are the cornerstone of security in the Southeast.
And hello again, everybody, and welcome to Case in Point, a very special edition of Case in Point. I am not Rick Strawn, normally the host of the show. Rick is here, the president and CEO of Paradigm Security Services. I'm Mike Salmon, and the reason that I'm hosting the show alongside Rick and a lot of his cohorts is because we have a big celebration today. Before we get into that, first of all, welcome, Rick. Great to see you as we do every Wednesday morning at this time.
Thank you, Mike. Good to be here again.
You've got your team here, and you've asked me to come on, and we're going to talk about Paradigm Security Services because over the last couple years, 2.5 years, you've been shining the light on a lot of nonprofits in the area, a lot of other businesses serving Gwinnett County. We said, you know what, it's appropriate now that we shine the light on Paradigm, especially because this is our 100th episode. Did you ever think you'd last 100 episodes?
No, I feel like it's 100 years maybe.
100 years. June 6th, 2018 was your first show. And here we are 2.5 years later, still going strong.
Yay.
Exactly. To help celebrate, I'm going to go ahead and give away the worst kept secret. Someone after this show is going to pie Rick in the face, because when we celebrate milestones around here, we don't just celebrate milestones, we do them a little differently.
Yeah, we made people suffer for them.
Yeah, exactly. When we got to 2,000 followers or so on Facebook, Rick, you actually pied me.
Yes, I did.
So this is my revenge.
I know, karma's hell.
We're going to pie you after the show. But you've got your big part of your executive team here today. Tell us about who's around the table.
Well, we got Renee Roos, who is our director of HR, and we've got Ed Aycock, who is director of training, and then we've got Mark Shelton at the end of the table. He is the operations manager. Chris Beatty's sitting here. He is vice president of business development, and then to my right is James Spurgeon. He is the director of operations.
Before we go into the business operations and what it's been like in this crazy year of 2020, why don't you just give us a brief overview from 10,000 feet above what Paradigm Security Services does and provides?
Well, Paradigm has focused through our career here doing this is in the private security industry with boots on the ground type security. Anything that you see that has security, we don't call them guards, but guards. We call them officers, but security guards, we do. We have a fleet of about 16 vehicles now, and not to mention a bunch of golf carts. So we do patrols for HOAs, for businesses, especially during this COVID period where they haven't had people. We'll do patrols. And really, it's just basically anything that you need security to watch over your assets and stuff and your property. That's what we do, so that's pretty well covers it.
Well, this year, Rick, 2020 has been really strange with COVID and so forth, and you would think, okay, a lot of businesses maybe not doing as well and might not need security. And then again, there's been some unrest around the country and around the Atlanta area as well. So have you seen your business grow or decrease in this crazy time?
Well, actually, we've seen our business grow. It's been a mixed bag. You have some clients out there that are in the residential field arena that they have problems because, of course, they're people that are staying there may have problems paying their rent, so their budgets get a little bit tight, and they may have to kind of decrease, but at the same time, they need security because, all the reasons, vandalism and all that. But we've also seen logistics because of thefts and different things like that are needing security. So we have we've grown quite a bit during this. We've been very lucky and very blessed that we haven't had to do anything but continually try to hire people. Never had to let anybody go. So it's been a strain in a lot of ways, personnel-wise and all that. But overall, the security business itself is doing well.
Well, since you have the heads of each of your departments here today, let's kind of ask them how it's been for them in this year of 2020 and of COVID-19. And we'll start with Renee because she is so excited to get on the air and talk. Aren't you, Renee?
Thank you, Mike. Yes, I am.
You're in charge of hiring?
I am in charge of hiring.
What has that been like this year?
Well, it has been challenging due to the virus. It has been very hard to get qualified people. We've tried to make everything easy and convenient for people to apply. It's just getting people up and wanting to work and not sit at home and get a paycheck.
Right. And what things have you had to do, and this can be for Rick as well as Renee, have you had to do when you bring, as far as things around the office, how have you changed how you do business to keep people safe, or at least make them feel safe?
Go ahead, Renee.
Well, we've kept everything clean. We wear our masks. We have social distancing. We do all the protocols necessary to keep our environment safe because we're an essential business. We stayed working this whole time.
When it comes to hiring people, you're doing great, Renee. You're doing great. Don't make faces. You're doing great. When it comes to hiring people, you also have to train them. And that includes not just new people, but people that you are probably training all the time that have been working for you for years. So, Ed, how has the training aspect, has that changed at all in 2020?
It has changed because we've had to up our standards. We've had to go out and do more stuff to get more people involved, to up their training as well. Once they get past the basic 24-hour security training, we have other modules that we train to continue their education as well.
Mark, you're the new guy on the team. You're in charge of scheduling and staffing. You're director or operations manager and scheduler. How have you been affected in 2020?
Well, the biggest thing that affects us is just the fact of we have a limited staff. So right now, as Rick said, we're getting more business because we're getting a lot of emergency coverages and extra fire watches and sites of this nature. So we're having to use the same people to work all the sites. So it's a challenge every day. I'm up pretty much 18, 20 hours a day with my supervisors, and we're having to put move officers around and so that we can cover all the posts. So it's just a challenge of using the same people all the time.
And when you have boots on the ground, everybody out there, I assume they're told they need to wear a mask and all the safety precautions? We
have to have them in masks. We have to have them in gloves. Anything the client requires, we have to put them in so that the client feels safe, because the client is the one that dictates what we have to do during the COVID and what we have to have our people in.
All right, I want to ask James now, Director of Operations. What does that entail?
Basically, it entails responsibility for everything, it seems like. A lot of the day-to-day operations and new clients, and make sure the existing clients are happy and we fulfill all their expectations of us.
Keeping Rick in place? That's a full-time job right there.
Yeah.
It is.
Good luck.
Not mine, though.
Yeah, I got you. But how has the civil unrest and everything that's been going on in the past year, how has that affected your performance or your job?
Well, 2020, as everyone knows, has been a year unlike any other.
Challenging.
Yes, challenging. And a lot of our clients during certain periods of the year with the elections and other things that have gone on have required extra presence. They've wanted uniform security out there. They've wanted a lot of surveillance and that proactiveness that we try to provide for them. Back when all of it started in the early part of the year, it was especially rough on us because it was so sudden. And then we had to, make sure our staff was available, and people were working a lot of double shifts and covering hours to make sure our clients were happy. Our operations manager now had his finger on the pulse of things and kept everything staffed pretty well. So, as busy and challenging as it has been, we have fulfilled our goals so far.
You talk about challenges, and Rick and I have talked about this plenty of times, where it's hard to find good people. Renee's out there trying to recruit and hire good people, and then Ed's got to train them and so forth. And it seems like it's all connected to each other, and that makes it even tougher because now more people need your services, and you have to go out there and find good qualified people.
Well, that has been probably the biggest challenge that we've had during the whole thing is acquiring the staff to be able to staff the client sites. Finding, a lot of times the people that are out here doing this, they may have never worked security. What we try to focus on is taking this material, this one person, and trying to go through training, mold it into somebody that understands what to do, and then it's a never-ending process because you get them trained, and you can only learn so much in the academy, which we have our own academy, but you can only train them so much. Then they have to go out to the site, then they have to be trained on that site, and then the training is just ongoing. It never ends because you've got somebody here that you've got to mold into the quality of an officer that you want. And they don't start out that way 99% of the time. If you're lucky, they may leave another company and come over to you or something like that and already have a little basic training. But a lot of the times we're reaching raw material. It's difficult.
I bet. Chris Beatty is the VP of Business Development. Chris, how has it been with this whole pandemic now? Are you finding that more and more companies are reaching out saying, listen, we need security, or has it been a little tougher to get the business?
I'd say there's probably two sides to that coin. One being a lot of our existing customers, mostly in multifamily and apartment housing, have had problems collecting rent from those people that they can't evict because of the way the laws are set up right now to protect people. So they're either cutting back on hours or in some cases temporarily suspending service altogether just because they don't have the revenue coming in to support it. There are other companies that have not used security, say in the last few years or whatever, that have called us because with criminal activity on the rise, whether it's car break-ins, vandalism, all that stuff we hear about in the news and read in the papers, they're now having to respond to get physical protection in place to protect their facility and their employees. Excuse me. And so it's it's going two directions. The biggest thing we have to do with our existing clients is be flexible. We're getting a lot of new clients that historically have not used physical security before. And so there's a big demand there that's actually a big part of our growth during this very trying time.
When we had some unrest in Atlanta, Rick, your company was smack dab in the middle of it. You've had some people that were involved in security. I think you had a few of your vehicles that actually damaged in some of the rioting that was going on. So you've been right in the middle of all of this.
Oh, yeah. We, coming from a background in law enforcement, and actually I come from a background in law enforcement. Mark comes from a background in law enforcement, and so does James. You have a tendency to get called into situations that a lot of times people don't get called into. And we had two of our vehicles, one of them just pretty well trashed, that took a lot of time and tenderness to get back into a condition where it could be driven. But we had two vehicles that were beat up and damaged. Luckily, we've gone through this, and because of the training and the type of people that we put in these particular zones where that was happening, we've not had any injuries to people because of all this, just to the vehicles and the equipment.
You touched upon all the services you provide at the beginning of the show. How let me dig a little deeper into that. When people need security, or they maybe want some personnel to guard their place or be with them or whatever they need, do you have armed guards as well? Because I know a lot of times you have people that are just looking at things and keeping an eye on things, and if help is needed, they call 911 or they call your command center or whatever. Do you actually have physically people that are armed that will get engaged if they need to be? Yes, we have an armed services division, and then we also have our unarmed, and then we also have, being from the background that I have, we have contacts where a lot of times we'll have people that want law enforcement,
And we do have the ability to pull in extra job law enforcement personnel to work some of these clients, and of course to do traffic for major construction companies when they're doing construction. Is a big part of our business, and the major construction of these buildings, of course, they have permits, they have traffic control and all that, and I do all the permits, and then we set up all the law enforcement. I do all that myself.
And Rick, you guys are expanding into surveillance as far as technology. Talk a little bit about that.
We do. We have got a new monitoring service that is coming on board that we've been working with. We've actually had it working with a couple of our clients. That is an amazing monitoring service that we have it to where can be live monitored, very reasonable cost, and then we can respond either through our patrols, or if we have someone on site, it works hand in hand with the security officers that are on site. It monitors, sets up perimeter fences, we call them geo fences, sets that up with the cameras. It's an amazing technology, and we're trying to keep right on the cutting edge of all that technology as we move forward. And it's going to be a great benefit to our customers.
Well, moving forward, I want to talk about, I want to get more on the positive side because it's been a very challenging year. And I'll start with Rick, and we'll go right around the table. But as far as this year, it's been very challenging. What would you say has been your greatest success or your biggest pride in 2020?
I think really probably the thing that's pleased me the most is that as a team, Paradigm has come together, and through our management team and our on-the-ground team and our officers, and been able to maintain the service to our clients despite all the facts of the pain that has caused us in trying to get people. We've had no problem really keeping them, it's just getting them. But with the number of hours that have flowed in, the number of personnel that it's been slow to increase, that we've actually been able to maintain, stay on top of our clients and provide the service that they expect, but even more so, most of the time, better service than they thought they'd get.
All right. James, in operations, your biggest source of pride in a crazy year?
Well, I echo Rick on that. Being able to maintain and even increase our customer service to our clients with COVID. Sometimes they are not in the office. Oftentimes we have to make appointments with them, or something will come up without notice, and we'll have to meet with them and pull them out of their working from home or something, and then trying to make sure that all their expectations are met or even increased, and then at the same time generating new business and maintaining that level of service. It's a challenge every day.
I bet. Chris, as far as business development, I would think now with what's been going on, businesses are happy to hear from you. They because sometimes it's like, oh gosh, leave me alone, you're trying to sell me something. Now they want to talk to you.
That's very true. I think circumstances out in the streets and out in the communities, even in the downtown Buckhead area, it's in the news every week. It's generating a lot of interest in what can we do to help mitigate the criminal activity that's going on. And it's gotten bolder. It's gotten more consistently occurring in certain areas of town, and those people are having to respond. And quite frankly, cameras are a great way to look at what happened after the fact, but when you've got physical security officers in place, it creates a much greater deterrent effect.
I do want to ask the question while I'm thinking about it right now. You guys are based here in Gwinnett County. Your area of coverage, though, serves where?
Primarily 12 to 13 counties around the Atlanta market area and North Georgia.
Gotcha. Mark, your biggest source of pride in 2020. It's been a crazy year, but what do you smile about when you think about 2020?
Well, my officers themselves, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be sitting at this table. I mean, they're the ones that get up out of bed on a moment's notice, get dressed, go to sites. They're the ones that show up every day and do the job, and they're the ones that keep the clients safe and at the same time keep themselves safe so they go home at night.
Yeah, and sometimes they've got to be flexible. All of a sudden you've got to change their location or their time because you can't control things out there.
And I never get a complaint from them. They're constantly, we can call them up and say, I know you were going here, but I need to move you there, and we'll backfill that. and they never complained. They said, all right, just send me the address. I'll put it in GPS and be on the way.
Ed, what do you say has been your biggest claim to success this year?
The one I'm most proud of is I teach CPR and AED. We had an officer come out of class a couple of months ago, and the first week out of class, he performed CPR on a perfect stranger, and that stranger survived. So that's my shining star there.
Wow, that's a great story. And Renee, I know it's been a tough year, obviously, trying to find folks, but what are you proudest of in 2020?
Well, being human resources, I'm proud of all the humans that work for Paradigm. I have to echo what Rick said and what Mark said, that all the employees have stepped up to the plate, and they don't complain, and they do their job, and they do it well.
All right, we're going to talk about the reason I'm hosting the show, if you're just joining us, is because we are celebrating 100 episodes of Case in Point. This is a radio show and podcast that Rick started about 2.5 years ago, June 6th, 2018. And here we are, 100 episodes later. I'm not going to ask you, Rick. I'm going to ask your cohorts here. What'd you all think when you first heard that Rick was going to do a radio show?
Don't all speak at once.
What were you thinking?
That's what we thought.
I mean, what is Rick like around the office? And then to think he was doing a radio show. Renee, when we first had the conversation a couple of years ago, what were you thinking?
What the what?
What the what? More like what the hell?
See, everyone's afraid to speak right now with you in the room,
Come
Rick.
on, y'all speak up. I know Chris is willing to say something.
How do they think he's doing on the show?
I think things are going very, very well. Rick and I talked about this prior to you all kicking this program off, and I thought it was going to be a unique opportunity on a unique platform, if you will, to talk to people and expose people to information that they normally wouldn't have access to other than the typical Facebook or YouTube stuff that's out there, which doesn't necessarily always get to the point. Ergo, case in point.
And what security companies out there are doing a podcast like this and giving back to the business community as well?
I'm not aware of any others. There could be some other companies doing this,
right?
But I'm not aware of them.
James, you were a guest on one of his shows, weren't you? What was that like?
It was fun, actually, barring a couple of faux pas I might have made, but it was pretty good.
Just you can try asking him our website now, and you probably know it. Just kidding. Don't go there.
All right, I won't do that. How have you enjoyed the show? 100 shows now in. I mean, I know obviously you were probably nervous as heck. Now you're a big star. You walk in with sunglasses on.
Yeah, right.
Trying to get rid of the autograph seekers. You might need your own security, personnel to shield you from the autograph seekers.
Yeah, I think I'll not worry about that for right now, but I enjoy getting just all those hands on.
Yeah, but seriously, you seem like you've really had a good time. You've talked to a lot of people in the community. A lot of people know who you are now because of this, and best of all, it seems like you're having fun.
I am. The original idea, I've said it before, the original idea was to talk to people, bring them on, make that connection, to create business out of it. And I think the part I enjoy the most is having the nonprofits on, the people that don't have a platform that they really can get a message out for, to have them come on and talk about their nonprofit, talk about what they do, how they reach out to the community, how they help the community, and then maybe help them out is to help them grow or to help them get funding or just to get their message out. I think that's what I enjoy the most out of the show is really filling that gap that seems to be lacking out in the media.
Well, we have certainly enjoyed having you as part of our family here at Business RadioX. It's been a lot of fun, and I appreciate the friendship that we've grown together over the years as well. And I'm so happy for Paradigm that you guys have been able to not just survive this whole COVID thing, but actually be able to do well and grow the business over this crazy year. As I go around the table one last time, and I'll start with James and work my way around because Renee does not want me to ask her the questions first. She wants to be last so she can think about it.
You saved the best for last,
I
right?
saved the best for last.
That's why I go last.
Age before beauty.
What is it about Paradigm
Thanks.
that makes Team Paradigm so successful? And if you want to talk about the culture, I mean, I think I've been able to experience a lot of it because when I come by the office all the time, I mean, Rick seems to be accessible. It's not a closed-door office. Just seems to be a very positive culture there. But what is it about Team Paradigm that makes you guys so successful?
Personally speaking, I think it's each department head, we kind of work together and we kind of do each other's jobs a little bit a lot of the times where I may need something done by someone and it's not in their wheelhouse, but they'll still help me out with it and we'll get through that, and vice versa. You know, I may be asked to do something and step up in a different area that I'm used to, and we all do that seamlessly.
Sounds like no egos.
I don't have
other than Rick's, probably.
There's a lot of egos, but they're willing to downplay them and share them.
I got you. I got you. Chris, what is it about Team Paradigm that has created the success, this ongoing success?
I've been in this business on and off since 1991. I've been with big international corporations and smaller companies, and the culture that I've seen in the 4 years that I've been with Rick and with Paradigm has grown into more of a family on an operational level. All of us are accessible to each other 24 hours a day, and most of our clients know that for operations purposes, all of us are operationally accessible 24 hours a day. That's why I've got a big, comfortable couch in my living room for those calls at 3 o'clock in the morning. So even though my title says I'm involved in business development, I try to work with James and Mark as much as possible to help out with training issues or service issues in the field with the client. And I think one of the biggest differences, we're very hands-on with our clients, and they don't have to wait a day or a week to get a call back when there's a situation that pops up. And I think that helps a lot because it builds a trust with us that a lot of other companies don't seem to develop in this industry.
I would agree with that. Now, Mark, Chris has been here for 4 years. You've been here closer to something like 4 months or so.
3 months.
3 months, okay.
3 months, yeah.
So what have you seen as you've come in? Why do you think this team's been successful in the short time that you've seen it?
Because all the pieces of the puzzle fit. It's not trying to put the puzzle together. The puzzle snaps together, and each of us can do or help out each other no matter what time of day it is or night. We can get on the phone with each other, fix a problem, pick up uniforms at the office, just anything we need to do to make a site run. We have the access with each other, and we just all snap together like a puzzle.
Great. And Ed, from your viewpoint, what makes Team Paradigm successful?
Well, I've been here about 8 years. Seems like yesterday. But I think the key to being successful with our company is Rick Strawn. He's out there. He is a mentor to all of us. He lets us do our jobs, but he keeps us on the right path. If we stray, he gets on our butts a little bit, but then we get right back up on the path. And I think he's the key to our success, putting this team together with all Rick.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
I'll even give you a bell for that. Renee.
I don't think I can follow up with that.
Well, you
come on, try.
You could have gone first, but you didn't want me to pick you first. So
Thanks. I just think because of how we treat our team members, as we are all family, like Mark had said, we know that the team members are ultimately responsible for our success, and we are successful.
All right, and Rick, I'm going to let you get the last word and why you think your team is so successful. Everybody seems to be pointing the finger to you as a big part of it.
Well, I can tell you what, it wouldn't be a company if the people that are sitting around this table didn't work their rear ends off. I'm just up here trying to make the pieces fit. What Mark was saying, they all snap together. It's finding the right pieces, finding the right seat on the bus to sit in. We've got a lot of good people, and just keeping a focus. When something happens, being able to open your mind, being able to understand both sides of the issues, looking at the big picture, and then make a decision that fits best way for everybody involved.
All right, for those out there that would like to have a conversation with any of your folks here around the table, talk more about Paradigm, use your services, what's the best way to do that?
Well, they can go about it a couple of ways. They can call our office, which is 678-684-4400, or the general website is www.paradigmsecurity.net. And for those that don't know, Paradigm is P-A-R-A, D as in Delta, I, G as in Golf, M as in Mike. Somebody told me one time, never name a company something that you can't spell, and I should have heard that. I wish I'd have heard that before I named the company. But and then also there's info, I-N-F-O, at paradigmsecurity.net. That's the general email address, and most everybody sitting around this table gets a copy of that. And if they call the office, they can get individual numbers and individual email addresses.
Well, Rick, congratulations on soldiering through this 2020 and actually growing your market share and continued success with your business. And, of course, on behalf of our entire family here at Business RadioX, congratulations on reaching 100 episodes. Most people don't make it that far with us because we drive them out before then, but you've stuck around.
Well, they've run out of money. You never know.
Exactly. So here's to maybe another 100 or so. We'll see. But thank you again. We'll have a video out there all over our social media. We're going to pie you in the face as soon as we get off the air. But here's the surprise that no one knows. I'm going to let one of your cohorts here pie you in the face. It's not going to be me. I want to just watch it and enjoy it.
How much did Ed pay you?
How did you know it was Ed?
It's not hard to figure. He was wanting to do it, and I was trying to avoid that. But
so let's go ahead and wrap up the show so we can get to the fun stuff. But before we do want to thank Sotheby's Garage. I know you use them for all your vehicle maintenance. I've used them for my personal maintenance for my car as well. They're Lawrenceville? Loganville. That's right, out in Loganville. And they do great work. So our thanks to Sotheby's Garage for their participation in this podcast over the last year and a half. Without their support, we wouldn't be able to be doing this. So big shout out to Sotheby's Garage.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, I want to thank all of our guests, Renee and Ed and James and Mark and Chris and, of course, Rick for allowing me to kind of turn the tables and put him on the hot seat today. For Rick and the rest of the team and for Amanda, who's producing, we'll see you next time here on Business Radio X.
And don't forget, Paradigm Security Services, we cover more than just your assets.